on expectation whether this government is coming or that government is coming, whether the coalition will be there, whether they'll be able to form a government in single party, all of that will continue to happen, and there will be daily some news that will come up. What will happen in the general elections? Yes, there are certain scenarios that if the current government doesn't come back, market is pricing some of that in. If that doesn't happen, then in that case the market will fall, but always keep some dry powder behind so that you can keep continuing to invest.
Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Cut the Noise, and today we have Raman here who's heading fund management business at Grip Invest. Welcome to the episode, Raman.
Thanks, Namit.
So the elections are here, Raman. Let's start with the fun question. When did you casted your vote for the first time? And what were your thoughts about elections and the government who will be coming that time?
Yeah, I think I turned 18 or 19 at that point in time. That was the first time that I casted election. उस टाइम पे ऐसा कोई वो feeling नहीं था यार कुछ. There was no this thing that I'm voting for the first time or anything like that. It was a normal process. I have seen my parents, my grandfather, grandmother casting votes. ऐसा यार ये सभी करते हैं. So I think the nationalistic spirit has come in as I've grown older and become hopefully more wiser. The nationalistic spirit has come in. Now today I feel that voting is important, and voting for everyone is very important. I don't care who you vote for, but as an individual you should definitely vote.
So Raman, today the topic is about personal finance during the time of election, and election has already started. The Lok Sabha elections or the general election, how does it impact your personal finances?
Yeah, it actually doesn't. It's basically like any other event that happens. If you ask me, all goals that I set for my personal portfolio is primarily long-term in nature, right? So there will be elections, there will be famines, there will be wars, there will be everything. But overall, if the trajectory looks upwards and overall, things are looking fine, I'm more than happy just holding on and not worry about what the daily news is regarding all of this. So while it's important to know what's happening in your country and to be updated, but in terms of churning portfolio or in terms of doing anything with the portfolio, I'm actually not doing anything much.
So Raman, what could be potential scenarios that could affect the performance of a market, let's say equity market, in this election time?
Yeah. So let's break it down into two phases. One phase is when the voting is happening over the next month or so, and the second phase is the election result per se. So let's not go to the election result. Let's talk about the phase of voting. This is where the volatility comes in. You've seen the first phase happening right now of voting that has happened. The voter turnout is slightly lower than expected, right? People are now making references that this will continue, all of that will happen. So there will be positive and negative news flows that will keep coming up as and when the elections are going on or the votes are being cast. So this will continue. Market will remain slightly volatile. This is on expectation whether this government is coming or that government is coming, whether the coalition will be there, whether they'll be able to form a government in single party, all of that will continue to happen, and there will be daily some news that will come up. My suggestion to people generally is the fact that if you're an equity investor, please ignore all of these news. Don't react to each and every news. The idea should be that you keep investing the way you have been investing, ignoring the fact that who's coming to power, who's not coming to power, what will happen in the general elections. Yes, there are certain scenarios that if the current government doesn't come back, market is pricing some of that in. If that doesn't happen, then in that case the market will fall, but always keep some dry powder behind so that you can keep continuing to invest. Don't go big during this period. Just keep slow and steadily investing as and when your liquidity allows you to.
So Raman, I was reading this article in Economic Times, and they were talking about should you be investing in liquid funds at this time?
Yeah, so you have to understand what are liquid funds. Liquid funds are nothing but short-term parking vehicles which are offered by mutual funds, where you can actually take out the money at will, right? It takes one day for you to exit out of that, and you can invest it in other places. So it's basically a parking vehicle. It will generate, let's say on an annualized basis 6-7%, which is eventually post-tax basis is less than inflation as well. So it's not a long-term strategy. It's basically a parking vehicle. You can park it in your savings account. You can park it in liquid funds. You can park it in FDs. You can do all of that. So treat liquid funds as a parking vehicle just because of the fact that you have some liquidity you don't want to deploy before you see the election results. Just use it as a parking vehicle, but it's not an investment vehicle, but it's just a parking vehicle.
So Raman, how does investing based on goals protect you against short-term market fluctuations or especially elections?
So yeah, if you have a goal in mind and let's say you're investing for buying a car 2 years down the line or buying a house, etc. If you're investing on based on that goal, that should continue no matter what the scenario looks like, right? If you're putting in an SIP should never stop. If you're putting in lump sum amounts of money on a periodic basis as well, that should continue. It doesn't matter where what is happening, whether a general election is happening, whether war is happening. Consistency of putting in money in an SIP format always really helps the investor in the long term to make their goals. So one should continue investing depending on what their goal is, and not look at, like I said, not look at these news flows or short term events for making any decisions that impacts the eventual end.
So Raman, I've been seeing and reading a lot about diversifying your portfolio. What are your thoughts on that?
So yeah, diversification doesn't have to be because there's an event happening, right? Diversification should be an automatic process, right? When you're creating a portfolio for yourself or for anybody, as a matter of fact, your parents, your brothers, sisters,
Or for different goals?
or for different goals as well. You should consistently keep your portfolio diversified. It doesn't matter. Events will keep coming. So a week back there was a war between sort of a struggle between Iran and Israel, right? These events will continue to happen. So you can't really keep all your eggs in one basket, like people popularly say. So what you need to do primarily is keep a diversified portfolio. So given your age, so there are many factors to it, given your income bracket, etc. You should keep your portfolio. There should be equity, there should be bonds, I mean debt. There should be a good diversification and also some dry powder. At all points in time, maybe 5% or 10% of your overall wealth should be kept in fixed deposits or liquid funds, just as dry powder, that if there's an impending scenario that the market crashes big time, you're able to add to that, right? Apart from the fact that you're continuing doing your SIPs, etc. So the sense is that diversification should not be only about these events. It should be a practice in an entirety, right?
Okay, Raman, my last question to you. Elections have already been started. Like people have started casting their votes. Now the results will come. So what would be your suggestion and advice for investors during this time?
Yeah, the advice is follow the news but don't act on it. Okay, there will be news on a daily basis till the time the election results come in. One day one government is winning, the other day the other government is winning, third day no one's winning, right? So there will be a lot of news flows, a lot of jitteriness in the market going into the elections, right? My suggestion is that read the news but don't act on it, right? The idea is that continue doing what you're doing. Don't over leverage yourself. Don't go and play options thinking that the results will be here or there. It is anyone's guess, right? So at the end of the day, what I would suggest is stick to the basics. Keep your portfolio diversified. Keep some firepower in case the worst thing happens, and make sure that you're not acting on rumors or on news or just taking positions just because of the fact that some friend told you. So that'll be my suggestion.
Thank you so much, Raman, for this insightful session. The people who are watching this video, if you have any suggestion, any comments on this video, please put those down in the comment section. And if you like this video, do hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Grip Invest for the upcoming videos on the channel. Thank you so much, Raman, again.
Thanks.
Investments in debt securities, municipal debt securities, securitized debt instruments are subject to risks including delay and or default in payment. Read all the offer related documents carefully.